Hi, in this particular video we're looking at GCSE perpendicular lines. This is roughly about grade 5 or so. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions, compare your solutions. Before we actually get to the video though, I want to ask a bit of a favour. I have been posting fairly consistently for about 2 months now, and I'd really like a little bit of feedback on what you think about these particular videos. Whether you like the thumbnails, the topics, or any other comments, please do post them below. I definitely read them and I'll always come back to you, and I look forward to seeing you inside the video. Hi, in this video we're looking at perpendicular lines. Now there's a very specific way of doing these. Basically what we're saying is if we want the perpendicular to y equals 4x plus 6, it's the gradient that we need to change. So basically the gradient for something that's perpendicular is called the negative reciprocal. So basically all we mean is that the reciprocal of 4 is 1 over 4, and the negative of that is minus. Okay, so that's pretty much it, that we can actually write this equation down as y equals minus 1/4 x, and then it doesn't really matter this value of c, so my plus 3 or something like that doesn't really matter. All we're doing is we're saying if we've got a line on a graph that cuts through the y-axis at 6 and has got a gradient of 4, so this is y equals 4x plus 6, then the reciprocal is actually going to be this line that is at 90 degrees, although I've not drawn this particularly well, but this one is going to be y equals minus 1/4 x, and in this particular case I've put 3, which is roughly about there, but equally well it could be 33 and it could be up here somewhere and still be the perpendicular line. Okay, so that's the general idea with these sorts of things, that really all we need is the negative reciprocal of the gradient. Okay, so number 2 then, so it's write down the equation of the line perpendicular to the same line, but this time it passes through 0 minus 4. Well, it's exactly the same really. We're going to say y equals minus 1/4 x, but this time it's going to go through 0 minus 4, which is this line about down here somewhere. It goes through minus 4, so it's going to be minus 4, and that's it really for that particular question. Okay, hopefully you're getting the idea of these. Now the difficulty comes where what they do is they swap things around. So this is the equation of a line, but it's not in the form of y equals mx plus c. So what we need to do with this is change it to the form that we can actually work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I can rearrange this to 4y equals 2x minus 8. Now, if you're not sure what I'm doing here, then have a look at the playlist on rearranging formulas, and hopefully that'll help. Okay, so I'm going to divide through by 4, and I got y equals 2x minus 8 all divided by 4. But what you've got to remember is that this means 2x divided by 4 and 8 divided by 4. So I could write that as y equals 2 over 4x minus 8 over 4. Okay, let's simplify that out a little bit, make it look just a little bit easier for us, as y equals a half x, and minus 8 over 4 is the same as saying minus 2. Okay, so actually this line becomes this line when it's in the form that we're looking for. And then, as I mentioned before, we've got the negative reciprocal in order to write out the perpendicular. So the reciprocal of a half is going to be 2, and the negative of that is going to be minus 2. So the equation would be y equals minus 2x. That's the gradient that we need. It's the negative reciprocal of that. And then we can have plus 4, or pretty much anything that we want with that particular line. It doesn't really matter which one. Okay, hopefully you're getting the idea. Let's move on then to question number 4. So question number 4 is find the equation of a line perpendicular to that which passes through that. So the perpendicular line is going to be the negative reciprocal of minus 4 over 3. Well, the reciprocal is going to be 3 over 4, and the negative of negative is a positive. So actually it's going to become y equals 3 over 4x. That's the negative reciprocal. Okay, and then it's going to pass through 0, 3. And if you remember that that is the point at which the line will pass through on the y-axis, so something like that, where this is 3, it's that value of c when you have the equations y equals mx plus c. Okay, hopefully that's all right. Let's try number 5 then. So find the equation of a line perpendicular to that which passes through 0 minus 4. Well, again, it's another of those where what we've got to do is make this in the same form, y equals mx plus c. So let's just have a go at that. I'm going to write this as 2y equals 3x minus 5. Okay, I'm going to divide through by 2, so I've got y equals 3x minus 5, all divided by 2. And you'll remember that I can separate these up. So I could write this as being y equals 3 over 2x minus 5 over 2. Okay, now you can, if you want, you can change this to a decimal. You could write this as y equals 1.5x minus 2.5, or you can leave it as it is, because with the perpendicular you do need then the negative reciprocal. Okay, so let's do that. So y equals, reciprocal is 2 over 3, it's negative x, and then minus, well, if it's passing through 0 minus 4, it's going to pass through minus 4 there. So what we've got with this is we've got a line that goes kind of like that, and it's going to go through minus 4 at that point. Okay, so hopefully that's okay for you. So we're bringing all these things together. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of these questions. I do appreciate if you've not done perpendicular lines before, these probably are a little bit challenging, but there are some other videos on the channel as well that go through these things a little bit more slowly. Okay, so let's move on then to question number 6. So question number 6, we've got a line that passes through those particular points. Okay, find the gradient, find the equation of the line perpendicular. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find the gradient of line A. Now the reason we need to find that is because if we want the perpendicular, it's the negative reciprocal. Okay, so let's have a look at line A, and I'm going to work first on the gradient. Okay, well, the gradient is going to be the difference in y divided by the difference in x, which is much easier to write as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And if we look at the coordinates that we've got here, we've got y2 is going to be 6 and y1 is going to be 3, so 6 minus 3. x2 is going to be 8 and x1 is going to be 4, so 8 minus 4. So 6 minus 3 is going to be 3, and 8 minus 4 is going to be 4. So the gradient of line A is going to be 3/4. We need the perpendicular. Okay, so the perpendicular, the gradient is going to be minus 4 over 3. So perpendicular is, gradient is going to be equal to minus 4 over 3. So all we do is we flip it around the other way and put a negative sign in front of it. Okay, so we need to then find the equation of the line that passes through the points 6, 12. So in other words, I've got this line which I know has this particular gradient, but the way I want the line to be written is in the form y equals mx plus c. So in other words, I've got the gradient, I can write y equals minus 4 over 3x. plus c. My problem is that I haven't got this value of c. However, what I do have is a value of y and a value of x. So I can put this information into this equation in order to work out my value of c. So I could write that as 12 equals minus 4 over 3 times x, which is 6, plus c. Okay, so what have I got from that? Well, I've got, if I just write this up here, I've got 12 equals, so minus 4 times 6 is 24, and 24 divided by 3 is going to be minus 8 plus c. So if I add 8 to both sides, I'm going to get 20. So 20 equals c. So therefore now I'm in a position where I can write my line as being y equals minus 4 over 3x plus 20. And that would be the equation of that particular line. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's move on then to question number 7. So this is really, it is grade 5, but it's probably knocking on the door, I guess, of grade 6. It's one of those sorts of questions. But have a little look at the next one, which is very similar, I think. But it will give you a little bit of an idea about how to sort of progress these things. So line A. Well, again, we're going to look at the gradient of line A. Okay. So that's going to be equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so I've got 7 and 1, 7 minus 1, and 4 and 1. 4 and 1. So what I get is going to be 7 minus 1 is going to be 6. 4 minus 1 is going to be 3. So my gradient of line A is going to be 2. Okay. Line B, well, we're just told it passes through those points. And again, in order for us to work out whether line A and line B are perpendicular, what we need to do is establish the gradient of both lines. And if one of them is the negative reciprocal of the other, then they must be perpendicular. But in this particular case, let's check. So we're going to look at the gradient now of line B. Okay, same formula, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so we've got 6 minus 4 over 11 minus 7. Well, that's going to give us a gradient of 2 over 4, which equals a half. So basically, they are not perpendicular because it's not the negative reciprocal. So not perpendicular. As if I put a little arrow there, not negative. It is the reciprocal, but it's not negative. Okay. Now, what you could do if you wanted to is you could sketch that and sort of have a look for yourself and see what it looks like. I could do this on this video, but I'm sort of running out of space a little bit. But I'm sure you could sketch that, use these 2 points, have a look and see whether it is a 90-degree angle. Okay, let's have a look then at the final question on the playlist, which is going to be question number 8. So question number 8, we've got line A passes through those points and line B passes through those points. They're perpendicular, they're not parallel to each other. Okay, I'm sorry about that. They are perpendicular. Okay, so what we need to do, I will change that on the downloadable sheet, but we need to check out and have a look and see if we can figure out the value of K in this particular case. Okay, so the first thing is, let's look at line A. And again, I'm going to look at the gradient for line A. Okay, well, that's going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So again, let's feed in the information we've got. Now, you've got to be very careful with these because we've got some negatives floating around. So I've got 11 minus minus 1. Okay, 11 minus minus 1. Okay, be very careful about these negatives. Okay, let's look at the x. So I'm going to have minus 1 minus minus 5, minus 1 minus minus 5. Oh my gosh, what a bit of a nightmare. But hopefully you can see that when you put two negatives together, it becomes a positive. So 11 minus minus 1 becomes 11 plus 1, which is going to be equal to 12. And then I've got minus 1, minus minus 5 is plus 5. So minus 1 plus 5 is going to be positive 4. So the gradient of line A is 3. Okay, so what we're saying is if line B is perpendicular, then it must be that the gradient of line B is going to be minus 1/3. It has to be equal to minus 1/3 because it is perpendicular, okay, and it's the negative reciprocal. Okay, so we can use that information now in exactly the same formula to be able to work out the value of K. What we're going to do is we're going to say line B, well, we know the gradient is going to be minus 1/3, and that's going to equal y2 minus y1. So 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 divided by k minus minus 4. K minus minus 4. Okay, so hopefully you're following this. All we're doing is we're taking y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 minus 4. Okay, so then really it's just a case of solving for k. You need to find the value of k. So let's just tidy that up a little bit. I'm going to leave minus 1/3 as it is. I've got 4 at the top, and then I've got k plus 4. Remember, two negatives together are going to make a positive. Okay, so one of my favorite tricks now is to kind of cross multiply these things. So if I cross multiply, I'm going to get minus 1 times k plus 4 equals 12. And then really, I need to just expand that and then solve for the value of k. So we are knocking on the door of a kind of a grade 6 question here. It is a little bit more challenging. If you're not used to these sorts of things, it might be worthwhile practicing them a little bit. These sort of questions do come up at GCSE, probably on the non-calculator paper. Okay, so let's take that through a little bit further. I'm going to, if I just put a little arrow up there, I'm going to get minus 1k, which is the same as saying minus k, and then minus 4 equals 12. Okay, I don't want negative k there. I'm going to bring it over to the other side, so I've got a positive value of k, and I'm going to get minus 4 equals 12 plus k. And then really all I need to do is take 12 from both sides. So k equals minus 16. And actually, that is the answer to this particular question. So a little bit more challenging, but I hope you found it useful. They do come up, as I say, at GCSE, so it is well worth practicing these sorts of things. If you're not sure about anything, always add a comment below. I'll always come back to you. There are playlists on the particular channel which will give you a few more examples of these types of questions, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video.